Come have a good time. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time, yeah. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. It's the hottest show around. We ain't got no list. Follow G, we get it done. Earning our respect. Tell them close to let us see where they going next. Don't want their ass that we lit. Bad playing net. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live. Mic'd up for show. Open up the phone lines. Come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends.
Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Ogeron wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill.
Good feet on the old man.
This is some back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. rmb-builders.com, or you can find them on Instagram at RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois always bringing you the Jordy Culotta Show along with our phone line sponsor, our friends over at Southern Regional Medical Center. Shout out to the crew, Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan. Real Doctors, Real Solutions, formerly Metropolitan Health Group. Same services, same great people. You can find them online at Southern Regional Medical Center as they bring you our phone line every single day. And no guests today, as we will revisit some of what Brian Kelly was talking about yesterday as he met with the press. Everybody was looking forward to it. He did make a comment on Denver Harris. We will hear what Coach Kelly has to say here coming up on the show. Stewie is here. Lloyd is here on this Thursday morning. We are going to looks like we're going to be live, boys, at the new space coming up on Monday. I know, Lloyd, you're heading over there to do a little testing today.
Yes, test day.
Place looks great.
Yes, it does come together a little bit.
Looks fantastic.
And we'll get some of the a little nostalgic feel, right? Put some of the old artwork in there, make it feel like home again.
Do that over the weekend and have it live and getting ready for you on Monday. And as we said, man, we're super excited about what's coming up here on the show with our partnership over at Click Here and what the future is going to be like as far as the digital marketing of this show and where you'll be able to find it, see it, and be able to get in touch with it. All right, so yesterday, Brian Kelly speaking with the media and everybody kind of paying attention to what he was going to say here on Denver Harris. We said that we anticipated him to be pretty honest and to be pretty forthright, and here is what Coach Kelly had to say yesterday when meeting with the media about his transfer cornerback. You good over there, Stewie? We ready for this? Denver Harris coming to LSU and what his status is right now.
I'm off a little, but can't be that much.
You guys ready?
All right, who's up?
Brian, just what is the status of Denver Harris with the team right now?
Denver is handling some personal matters, and if he takes care of everything, could have him back this weekend.
Pretty cut and dry, pretty to the point. As Kelly said, look, he's going through he's handling some personal matters, and that they anticipate if he can take care of that, they expect him back by the weekend. So whether you want to look into it and call it a suspension, nobody is confirmed. Nobody said anything. He's just going to take care of some personal matters, and he'll have his chance to get back with the team. As we have talked about here in speaking directly with Denver's family, to the message that I have got back to me is that, look, this has hit Denver Harris. And I think when you're talking about a prospect and a player like Harris, he understands that he's running out of chances. In fact, he's down to probably his last chance at LSU. So if the message doesn't hit now, then there's concern on whether or not if it'll ever hit. But from the family standpoint, it seems as if the message was taken to heart, and that hopefully this stuff can be put behind Harris, and the off the field stuff can stop prohibiting him from advancing on the field, because LSU, as we've said, look, they need him to be who he is if he is going, or if LSU is going to accomplish ultimately where they can go. So there's the latest on Harris. He is handling personal matters, and if he takes care of that, he can be back as early as this weekend to the team. So that's the latest on the transfer cornerback. Here's more of what Brian Kelly said yesterday as Kelly was meeting with the media on his regular Wednesday spot, and he was talking about another transfer in Omar Spates, who's going to step in and play linebacker for LSU.
Omar, his physicality and his ability to play in space are, a unique combination. Generally, you have a linebacker that is really good in space but lacks some of the physicality in the box. He brings both of those, which is, a trait that is very difficult to find in college football. You either have, what is known sometimes as a box player who's a downhill run stuffer, but sometimes struggles in space. He's got both of those talents, and so it allows us to move him around, expand, let him get out and leave Harold in a consistent location. Because look, at the end of the day, if I'm on offense, I want to get Harold out of the action and force him to cover down as much as possible. And Omar gives us that flexibility in answering your question, how it helps Harold, stay in a consistent location, and we can do a lot of things with him.
That answer right there with Kelly, just talking about Spates, is another example to me on why Kelly is such a clear communicator, right? Whether it's his transparency and way he handles the media, or the being as transparent as he feels he can be, which to the media feels like it's being part of it. The access is it's incomparable. There's nothing in comparison that you can do of anything that we've ever covered from a media standpoint that is comparison of the access that the media has right now. And I think that goes into confidence. I think that goes into preparation. I think that goes into an understanding that everything that needs to be taken care of there's nothing to hide. There's nothing that you have to try and filter to keep out of the media sight or to keep out of the public's view. And the more that Brian Kelly meets with the press, the more that he gets into situations where you're dealing with players like and situations that you have going on around guys like Denver Harris. You ask him about a transfer in Omar Spates. Everything just is so
above board,
above the table, right? I mean, it just feels as if there's a transparency to it where, from the media and the public standpoint, is very refreshing. I can't imagine what it would be to be a player with that type of communication, right? I mean, if there's ever any type of gripe that you hear from players in sports when they're talking about their coaches, a lot of the time it surfaces around, I wish he would just tell me what he wants. I wish she would just tell me what she needs from me. I wish they would just give me my role, right? Where that, to me, comes down to a breakdown in communication somewhere and the importance of it, right? I mean, whether it's a relationship that you have with a sibling or a spouse or a parent, or it's a coworker, a boss, or it's, between a player and a coach, the key to it has to be communication. And one of the things that Brian Kelly, in my opinion, that he has shown very early on in being at LSU is that he is a masterful communicator. I mean, like, he is able to communicate very clear and with clarity that it's easy to understand. And being somebody that covers his program, it's refreshing. I talk to enough people that are season ticket holders that feel refreshed in the way that the program is being, just publicly related to. And then you've talked to players where they have a clear understanding of what the expectation is and what is expected of what it is to be an LSU football player. And if you don't, you've got an example like Denver Harris, where it doesn't matter how talented you are. The rules apply and can't be adjusted for anyone. More from Kelly. Here he is talking about Mason Smith heading into the season, as Smith is coming off of injury last year and really motivated for his third year.
Yeah, I mean, I think, he's been banged up a little bit. Nothing that, I think we're overly concerned with. There's no structural damage to any joints or, things of that nature. But, look, he's been out for a year, and everything hurts a little bit more after coming back into it. But, we got to be careful with him. But, again, I think Owen Stanley and Mason have a really good relationship in terms of what can I do and what I can't do. He had an ankle sprain, nothing that we were really too concerned with, but we're concerned with everything, right, when you have a player of his caliber. So we're going to be careful with him.
What a great answer. Here is, seriously, I mean, just telling you, straight up. Here's what you're dealing with, and you weren't really concerned, but we're concerned about everything. That totally makes all the sense in the world, right? And then tells you that, yeah, he sprained his ankle. I don't mean to make this a huge deal. It's just a totally new day. I mean, like, to hear that type of transparency from the LSU head football coach is just, we've all been here. I mean, we've all known where we've been, right? I mean, like, deep, dark into the hole of, communication maze with, Les Miles, Ed Ogeron, and now Brian Kelly. I mean, you feel like you've just seen the light. I mean, you're just seeing, like, what this is. I mean, like, that's clear communication.
What year was it? 16 when Leonard basically broke his ankle in camp.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
And Les Miles was just like the whole time just being real quiet about it, just like, oh, he was nicked up in camp, just a camp injury.
Lower body injury.
Like, coach, he's like hurt. Like, he needs surgery on that thing.
No, he's gonna play game 1, first carry, getting the rock.
Toss dive.
But I think that's more of what it is. LSU, and if you've been around the program for as long as we have, not only covering it, but just watching it, and especially for you, Jordy, you've lived through the Saban era, then you went to just probably the exact opposite, where you have a Les Miles tenure that was so tumultuous, where you're winning 10 games, but you don't feel like it's the right way to win 10 games, and then towards the end of it, it became so cagey and just false flags, where he was talking but not saying anything. And it got to a point of such frustration. You're like, I don't even want to go to the press conference.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to see what he has to say. And then you have Ed Orgeron, who comes out with the same mantra that Brian Kelly was trying to do. I'm going to be honest and upfront. I'm telling you I'm getting the best coordinators in the country. Doesn't happen. And then he falls flat. And then he becomes so guarded and almost like you put a rat in a corner, where he was like, I'm turning and running and sprinting at you. I want to fist fight everybody here. And that's a totally different aggression that isn't helpful at all either when you're trying to convey a message to the media or what's going on within the program. And now LSU has Brian Kelly, where it's like, how did y'all make this so hard? It's not that big of a deal to just come up here and speak knowledgeably and intelligibly about your team. And we're so shocked by it that it can lead a show.
Right. It's crazy. I mean, it really is, to hear just the transparency. Here he is talking about the offense right now and where they are in comparison to the defense at this point in camp.
Well, sometimes you just look at, the fact that we have, the ability to do things tactically a little bit different with four. Like today, we had a number of different tight ends on the field, and it allows you to do some things that give you favorable matchups. When you put more than one tight end on the field, it has a tendency to shorten a defensive coordinator's play calls because they become limited in terms of situational substitution. I don't want to get into too far down the road here in terms of where we'll end up, but multiple tight ends give you a lot of opportunities to get matchups, and so we like that. It allows us to play physical as well. And with the depth at running back, I think we all know that, and I think you guys have been out here at times where, we've only had 4 running backs that were actually healthy at one time. So even with the number, the number of 8 sounds, crazy. There's the natural, wear and tear on backs that, we want to keep them healthy. And so where I think that real advantage is that we can keep these guys fresh throughout the entire season.
Brian Kelly yesterday speaking on the matchup problems that they can provide when putting their personnel at tight end out there. And really you go and see their tight end room and hear how Brian Kelly speaks about what he wants to do at the tight end position and what it can provide from a matchup standpoint. And I think that LSU is going to get really exotic this year in some of the personnel and some of the formations that they are going to put out there. Like, they are going to get freaky. And, I mean, he talked a little bit about the 8 running backs. I still think there's some situations that you see Aaron Anderson in the backfield lined up. They're coming out of the backfield running and trying to create one-on-one matchups with, like, linebackers and big safeties. Like, I mean, they're going to have some options from a standpoint of just the weapons and depth and amount of players that they have is even at LSU, who, where we've seen, everybody come through here and have all types of guys and dudes and NFL players, the amount of players and selection on this team is as deep as I can remember. Yeah. I mean, really, I can't recall a group that was deeper than this one. Maybe there's some groups that were, as deep as what LSU will trot out there this year, but this is a group that, I mean, they can come at you in waves offensively. I mean, they can beat you from the tight end standpoint from a matchup, as you just heard Kelly talk about. I mean, what the tight ends on the field do from a defensive standpoint is it creates matchup problems. And if you've got the tight end creating matchup problems, then what are you going to do with Aaron Anderson? What are you going to do with Malik Nabers? What are you going to do with Brian Thomas? What are you going to do with Kyron Lacey? What are you going to do with Chris Hilton? It's just, it's.
Do you see where Chris Hilton was clocked? We talked about, what was it? Will
24?
Campbell? Yeah, Will Campbell was at 19 miles an hour. Then they come with Chris Hilton at 24 miles an hour. The man is basically breaking the speed limit with his feet.
You know what the fastest in the NFL is?
Like is it Trey Palmer?
I think no. I'm saying like just
game
the fastest game speed.
Was it Leonard?
I think it was Tyreek. It was like 20.
Yeah, it was 20. It was Tyreek. And yesterday, Trey Palmer was clocked at like 24 at Bucks camp. He is supposedly Trey Palmer is ripping Bucks camp up.
Yeah,
like he is like in the discussion to be the third wide receiver. Russell Gage blew his ACL yesterday.
Well, I mean, Trey Palmer was at Nebraska for a season and broke their single season receiving record, single season catches in a season, and I think the touchdown record. So we see how good Trey Palmer is.
When did he get? He got drafted, obviously, but he go like 4th, 5th round?
Oh, I don't even know if he got drafted.
I think he did.
Did he get drafted?
4th or 5th or like.
Yeah, I think they kind of went earlier than I thought. Yeah. But what happened with his tenure at LSU?
I think he looked at the room.
And just decided.
I think. I mean, his last game he played was his best game. Is that where he returned the? Did he return a punt against Texas A&M?
That was his freshman year.
Yeah, it was his freshman.
Okay,
but
he did something. He did something in his last where you were like, wow.
He's kind of.
I mean, he kind of popped a little bit.
In his last season period, he popped a bunch of times, and it was just kind of like, wow, they really just can't figure out a way to get Trey Palmer the ball.
I mean, supposedly he was like. So they're combined practicing with Tampa. I mean, I'm sorry, with the Jets right now. Yeah. And, like, supposedly he was cooking Sauce Gardner. Like, they have, like, 2 or 3 clips of him, like, I think he hit him on, like, a 60-yarder.
I mean, Coach, wasn't Trey Palmer a 5-star?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, what he did at Nebraska couldn't have worked out any better for him.
No.
Obviously, I guess he did need a change of scenery, but there was a lot of – LSU was in such disarray. There was no real way to even think about game plan. LSU found one play that worked against Florida one time, and then Todd Davis-Price broke the rushing record on an 11 a.m. kickoff against Florida, where everybody and their mother thought LSU was going to get run out their own building, and LSU pulls the upset because you started pulling a guard. You didn't have really there was no next step to how can we get Trey Palmer involved in this? Like, I get why he looked around and was like, I got to get out of here. I'm supposed to be in the NFL.
6th round pick, Palmer.
Good. He's gonna be if that's correct, he's gonna make the team.
And people in the chat are questioning.
Oh, he's making it. Mm-hmm. He's making the team. I'm telling you.
People in the chat are questioning whether or not Will Campbell ran 19 miles an hour. They track everything on those players.
That's the man, bro.
Like, it's nothing that they do that they don't track. Like, you can't think of anything that a player does that they don't track. They know what their body temperature is during practice. They know how fast they're running, their outputs, everything. So, if they're aligned to us too. Than if he ran 19 miles an hour.
Well, and that's what put Mekhi Wingo on the map for me whenever they talked about the catapult sleeves that they're wearing, and they were talking about his output and how he goes literally 100% every play. Then he came into an interview with was it Miles Frazier and him that came in together?
Yeah.
When we
yes. Yes.
And he was like, Frazier was like, I'm telling you, don't be fooled by the way he looks. That man is impossible to block. And you saw it after Mason Smith goes down. I was kind of felt, okay, let's see I felt confident what Wingo was going to do. I didn't know he'd be able to do it at this level for this long, where he played, 80-some-odd plays in his first game. And that wasn't the idea. But now you get to see him and shorter bursts, I'd imagine, with depth on the defensive line where it's going to be 100% every time. He's going to flash a ton on that D-line.
And not only that, I mean, you got Mason Smith next to
That's
you.
what I'm saying. You have such – it doesn't have to be the Mekhi Wingo show.
Right.
He didn't want it to be that way, but standout job by him to step up and take that role, and now it's going to be easier than it was last year.
Yeah. The things that they wear to track that speed is it's poorly put together. Did you see the Kyler Murray?
Yeah, but I think like people kind of overblew that because like athletes do that all the time.
No,
Like,
I understand.
that's
that.
like a normal thing to wear.
But I guess
a
they
little-
usually have something covering up what looks like it looks like a sports
Yeah,
bra.
it looks like a sports bra.
It looks like a sports bra. Did you see Chet? What's his last name?
Holmgren?
Yeah, Chet Holmgren in it.
Oh
That's
my
the worst
God.
look of all time.
probably
It
looked
looks like
he was a
it looks
12-year-old
like
girl.
It looks like he's playing on a under 18 travel team for the
women's.
AAU women's team.
Rob Boudreaux was just talking about it inside the chat. It is. I mean, it was an
That was the worst
unfortunate
look
picture
I've
that
seen.
came out of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I didn't see Kyler, but I
That's
guess he
bad.
would look funny in it too. It's a big. It depends on what you look like.
Right.
Like short in stature and tall, like super
Right.
tall, is probably two bad looks for you. You're like, this is interesting.
It's weird. All right, so Brian Kelly, more from him yesterday as he was speaking with the press. Here he is speaking about the offensive line. Speaking of Will Campbell and the crew, here he is speaking about that group.
Yeah, DJ Chester's is doing a really nice job at center. We've gotten a lot of work with him in the second group. We've moved Martinez over to guard. He's doing a nice job for us there. Hurd's playing at the right tackle. Bordelon's playing at the left tackle. I really like, how they're coming along. I think that, that group in itself has done a really nice job as that, second unit and giving us some confidence in the depth. So we'll see how things play out. We're really looking to see, who is the five guys that we have out there right now, which you all know who they are. Can somebody break into that top five? And so these next few days we'll take a closer look at it and see if, is there somebody that can break into that top five? But that's kind of where it is right now.
The depth that we were talking about yesterday at quarterback and what they're doing and building kind of like a pipeline and building a timeline of guys that you can stay on. It seems like they are doing that right now at center as well. And one of the things that you knew you were getting in Brian Kelly when you hired him is you were getting an offensive line specialist. You were getting someone who knew how to coach the unit, knew how to prepare and recruit at that level, and a guy that understood just how important that part of the team is when putting a program together. I mean, you can look at a list of the Notre Dame offensive linemen that have come out under the last decade, while Kelly was there, that have gone on to have stellar NFL careers and were shining while they were on campus as well. I am hearing just incredible things about DJ Chester at the center position and what he has been able to kind of do physically. Now, mentally, obviously, when you're talking about a true freshman and you're talking about a position that you have to take in so much information, there's a learning curve, right? And center, I would say, behind quarterback would probably be the most difficult position to transition to from high school to college and even college to the NFL. At least if it's not the second most difficult position, it's definitely in the discussion behind quarterback because it's a cerebral spot as well, right? Like you are trusted to call protections. You are trusted to find the Mike linebacker. You are trusted to find the strong side of the defense. I mean, there's just things that you have to communicate every single play when you break the huddle that you have responsibility, where it's not just, put your hand over the ball and make sure the quarterback gets it. I was watching Hard Knocks last night. I mean, the relationship that Aaron Rodgers shares between his center, you can see it's very direct. right? Like, I mean, it's and not just because he's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is another guy who I think is a great communicator.
Yeah, I said the same thing. Like,
You know
he's
what I mean?
just
Like,
such a-
like whether it's Zach Wilson, who you can tell is just, I mean, he's calling him his dad.
yeah, he's like, Dad approves.
Yeah, dad approves of the arm sleeve. You know, or the coaches where, you know, I mean, like they feel like they kind of have to explain something of what they're doing to keep him, and just his ability to relate to the team, to communicate, I think is, look, Aaron Rodgers is going through a little bit of brand management right now on Hard Knocks, and he's crushing it. He's killing it. But you can see the relationship that he has between his center. He's like, you know, like, I don't want spirals on shotgun.
No, he was adamant about that.
Yeah, he was like, I do not spin the ball. He's like, I don't want to. I mean, like, and even like when he told Zach Wilson, you could tell Wilson was like, damn. Like, I mean, he's passionate about this.
That touched the nerve.
Yeah,
Because even
I mean-
with the ball boys that were throwing the ball,
He's
like,
like, don't spin the ball.
like, the center doesn't spin it. Why are we going to spin it here? So that
And then he
was
kind of
that's a
told
big
his,
pain
and then he
point
kind of
for
told his
him.
center, he's like, look, I'm going to get up in there a little bit further than other guys do. He's like,
But in that same vein, Tom Brady was the same way with his center. Whenever
Absolutely.
he got to Tampa Bay,
Drew
it was
Brees.
like one of the first people he had a real communication with, where he's like, "I'm gonna bring you a towel and do all like this is the most important thing." I mean, this is how you start the game, and so you can see that relationship between center and good quarterback. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. There's obviously something to that you don't really see until it's like a behind the scenes type deal.
I think it's the second most important position on the offense. I think you could argue it's the second most important position on the field.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really, from just a responsibility standpoint, there's only two players that touch the ball every single play, the center and the quarterback, right? I mean, like, you got to make sure that position is taken care of. And what LSU has done from immediately finding a groove for Charles Turner, like, let's not overlook that. Look, Charles Turner has held down that spot and did a really good job, I thought, on an offensive line last year that really grew and developed within the season, and him being one of those guys that we don't talk about as much because of Campbell and Jones and the impact that they made as true freshmen, but Charles Turner was steady and consistent in the interior of that spot. I mean, you know, he held guys off for the season. They wanted to play Martinez. Martinez had a great bowl game. But hearing that they moved him to guard tells me that DJ Chester's a dog, because they loved Marlon Martinez at center. And as Kelly said, they're just trying to find the best five. And if they've got Chester in line to take over this center position when Charles Turner, you know, gives it up, graduate, moves on, then you got a guy in Joseph Cryer that Kelly has been, you know, kind of grooming since he's been a sophomore in high school, where the first time he met him, he told Cryer, learn how to snap. Since then, Cryer's been doing it every single day. 3 weeks ago, he got an LSU offer. 3 weeks ago, he committed. I mean, it feels like you've almost got 8 years worth of centers in the program right now. What a luxury, especially when you're trying to recruit the number one quarterback in the country, or you've got a quarterback room as so talented that LSU is. If you can say, hey, look, not only do you have an offensive lineman like Will Campbell and Emory Jones that are going to be here, Lance Hurd, who he commented on, playing some time at right tackle here early on in camp, but you've got a center that's lined up for nearly a decade here in the program. It's just, man, that's huge. On an offensive line, if you can stabilize the center position, it feels like that would probably be a lot easier to build that unit around it, right? I mean, if you've got the center taken care of. I mean, not that Lance Hurd and Will Campbell and Emory Jones just grow on trees, but wherever they are, they'll start paying attention to what's going on in Baton Rouge if that's going to be the pipeline. I mean, LSU's about to pump out multiple first-round picks at offensive line over the next 3 to 5 years. Multiple. Like, they may have 2 in the first round in 3 years. I mean, that's going to bring a lot of attention. Think about what Joe Burrow did for the quarterback room at LSU. All the attention that brought from quarterbacks around the country of just, hey, I got to pay attention to what's going on down there. You start pumping out a couple of offensive linemen within the first 60 picks and consistently in the NFL draft, offensive linemen from all corners of the country will start paying attention to, I got to go down to Baton Rouge and take a visit.
I was about to say, what are they going to do when they have 3 LSU players in the top 10? Harold Perkins, Will Campbell, and Emory Jones.
And then they're going to be talking about Lance Hurd next season. Right? Like, I mean, when they're showing the film of Campbell and Jones, you're going to be saying, oh, well, watch out for 53.
Who's 53?
Better be their left tackle.
He's next. And I love to hear Bo Bordelon working at left tackle, because let me tell you, talk about somebody who has physically changed what he looks like from high school to college. I saw him at an LSU baseball game, and I mean, I was like, good Lord. I mean, like,
What number is he? 67 or is he 60?
I think he's 68 or 67. He might be. I don't.
Yeah,
but
I've
he
seen him a
is
couple times.
recognizable when you walk out there. Like, you're like, look at that. I mean, I don't know. Did they sign him anticipating that he would be a left tackle?
I think they signed him like as a guard.
I
think
thought
they
so
signed him
too.
I thought like just depth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
but I
obviously
thought the
LSU
intent
alum.
was to. Oh no, I think they knew he could play.
Yeah.
His dad was a player.
Oh, I know that,
Yeah.
but I didn't think it was going to be a left tackle player. I
Me
thought he was
either.
going to be like a rotational guy, and in one of these cuts, BK talks about having those swing players that you have on the offensive line. I thought that was going to be Bordelon, because he has a certain quality that you see in great offensive linemen, where it's just he knows that that's who he is. You know, where it's I'm nasty offensive lineman, like I want to be on the offensive line. And when you have guys like that also want to play for LSU, he'll find a role. Anything you tell him to do, he'll do it. But him working at left tackle speaks volumes.
I mean, that
the
is
work he's put in.
That was great to hear.
And Brad Davis is like kind of always on him. He's number 67. I always see Brad Davis like kind of like after he goes, Brad Davis will get in his ass a little bit just to kind of you could tell
let
like,
you know you're good.
right. He
Right.
knows he's good,
Yeah.
so he wants him.
Right.
He pushes him.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a great thing. By the time you get to college, if you don't understand that guys yelling at you and getting after you, that means that they like you and want you to continue to develop. And I mean, somebody failed you in coaching along the way, right? I mean,
There's
if
a
it
reason
hurts
they're
your
paying attention to
if it
you.
hurts your feelings to get yelled at in college, I mean, you know, look, man, they're trying to get you paid.
Yeah.
They're trying to get you to the next
They
level.
care about you.
Right? Absolutely, and they want to win. They want to keep their job. All right, remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. Our friend over at Katie's, Scott Craig, talked to him yesterday. Man, he is fired up about what's happening on Sundays. Thank you to everybody who has embraced the new Sunday schedule over at Katie's. It's football season. It's football weather this morning. If you hadn't stepped outside yet, brace yourself. It is awesome outside this morning. It feels like football season. And if you need a little bit of a reminder of where you can go to watch the games, Katie's over in New Orleans on Iberville Street is now open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays, and they've seen a immediate boost in sales. The crowds are great on Sundays, which is awesome. He also said he had a couple of patrons walk in there over the last couple of weeks telling him that they heard it on the Culotta Show. We appreciate that very much down there in New Orleans, so make sure you tell Scott Craig that you heard it here on the Culotta Show when you walk in there and see him over at Katie's. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sundays, brand new hours with 5 new TVs put up in the restaurant. So if you're just looking for a place to watch the game, check out Katie's down in Mid-City on Iberville Street. Been around since '84. Great menu, cold beer, great service, great people. You can find them down in New Orleans on Iberville Street and online at katiesinmidcity.com. They got a sister restaurant in Francesca's that's located down in Lakeview. All that information is online as well at katiesinmidcity.com. Brian Kelly was speaking about the quarterback room yesterday, and look, we were talking about it yesterday as well, and a lot of excitement when talking about this group, and you can even feel it coming from the head coach. Here he is talking about the emphasis on the third quarterback is one of my takeaways of Kelly talking about that position yesterday.
That it's important to develop all of our quarterbacks at all times, right? I mean, I think that that's a given. And sometimes, you know, you go to camp and you start to work on game plan too quickly. I think we've done a really good job with Daniels and Nussmeier and continue to work. And I think Joe's done a really nice job of staying focused on their technical development. And I like where they've gone in terms of that development at the quarterback position. And Ricky's got to continue to develop because, you know, kind of what you said is that when you only have 3 quarterbacks on scholarship, that third quarterback is so crucial for you in his development. So I'd say that I'm really pleased with the development of Daniels and Nussmeier, and Ricky is kind of, we're really pushing him hard to to continue, his trajectory, because when you have just 3, he's in the mix, right? I mean, so these next 5 days are going to be really big for him.
Brian Kelly talking about the quarterbacks. Love to hear that, man. I mean, really, I didn't put as much stock into the emphasis of a third quarterback as they do, and how, in thinking about it when I was watching the press conference and listening to him talk about it last night. I guess if you're in the coaching seat, right? It's your responsibility to have the team ready to play every single week, and you're a head coach, a quarterback's coach, or an offensive coordinator. You're Mike Denbrock, you're Joe Sloan, you're Brian Kelly. You are thinking like, fellas, we're 2 plays away here.
A couple snaps away
from looking at a true freshman with the number 5 team in the country, right? So where we all think outside looking in, like, man, Ricky's got a great luxury here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he can just sit back, watch, kind of, country club this thing until it's his time. You can hear the emphasis within the building of, you got to coach this guy up.
Yeah.
Because if there is a scenario down the line where you got to look at him and say, hey,
you gotta go in the game.
Football just happened. Football just went football.
Yeah.
And, 2 players went down in 3 weeks.
Hatch, get
Rick,
ready.
You're up. Exactly. Andrew Hatch. What do you mean I'm playing? I came down here to hang out with the national champs.
Coach, I'm reading a book.
Should I call him?
Right.
Yeah. I thought this ring was going to look real nice.
And not saying that that's Ricky's mentality. I mean, we
No,
know
no,
we
but that
know
was-
Ricky.
Yeah,
I think Ricky wants, and would go all in on that. But I don't think we want that for Rick.
No.
You know what I mean? But
I'm just saying it's plausible.
Yeah,
That's
but
the scenario
from Brian
that can
Kelly
happen.
listening to him,
Yeah.
I mean,
we saw it happen last year in the NFL with the 49ers. They get a quarterback hurt, get in the playoffs. Brock Purdy gets hurt. Now you're down to a third quarterback, and you don't even have a third
with a Super Bowl on the line.
Right. So it's like
Christian
You're
McCaffrey.
thinking about moving a wide receiver. You're thinking about moving the wide receiver, my man from South Carolina. Why am I forgetting his name?
Debo Samuel.
Debo?
You're thinking about putting Debo.
Well, they put
Wildcat.
McCaffrey at quarterback. I mean, they did that. He took Wildcat snaps, and your season's effectively over if that happens to you. And I wouldn't say the same thing for LSU because you have a competent quarterback that is your third string quarterback. But the way that Brian Kelly talks about it, it's not like matter of fact. It's no, we're trying to get him ready just in case. Like he's thinking that. I don't want to say it's a possibility, but he is prepared just in case.
And it's great for Ricky.
Yes.
Right? It's a never let up type deal. You can look at him in 2 years when he is the starter and you can say, Rick, we've been coaching you like this since you've been a freshman.
You ready?
Right? You have been prepared for this. Right? I mean, getting your first start on the road in the SEC, playing an 8:00 kickoff, you know what I mean, on ABC by that time, the new television contract's in. I mean, you're in Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night, you know what I mean? As a first-time starter. And you've been coached up for the last 2 years as if you've been starting since the day you graduated from Woodlawn.
Yeah.
And, I mean, whether, Ricky is here when it all shakes out and he graduates from here, or whether he ends up somewhere else just because of the quarterback lottery that is every single season, or the quarterback roulette that happens every single season, it's good to hear that he will be as coached up as he needs to be, or as possible going into his development. More from Brian Kelly yesterday. Here he is speaking. That was on the quarterback room. They will scrimmage for the first time on Saturday. They'll take it into Tiger Stadium and scrimmage from a full team standpoint. And here is what Kelly said that setup will look like.
We'll try to get in, somewhere around 60 to 70 plays. It's generally the biggest scrimmage in terms of live work that we'll get. We did some situational, as you saw, goal line work today. So it will be the time where we get a lot of the starters in there, get as much work as possible. And then certainly the younger guys will get the rest of the work.
Brian Kelly speaking with the media.
That was AustinPowers.com.
Yesterday.
when he's in the car and he gets stuck in the tunnel, reversing and pulling up.
Oh, trying to. Did you see Rogers talking about how he's obsessed with
Gold member?
gold
Yeah.
member? He that's why he had the hair.
You can tell that he's been force-fed Goldmember because he's like picking out actual plot points in Goldmember to where he's seen it more than 5 times.
Yes.
He's like, I mean, he goes through the whole Goldmember of like what he likes to eat, where like he knew way too much about it, and he probably wishes he didn't know that much about it. The Gold Zone.
Him like a roller skating. Like,
Yeah, he's very flexible.
Lloyd has cut up a couple of Les Miles bites for us that we'll hear in the second hour in comparison to Brian
Jesus.
Kelly's press
Full
conference.
disclosure, I cut them without audio, so
Oh, wow.
I just went with the then this is actually a test, a little inside baseball. I could do the same thing for Brian Kelly, and it's actually easy because you can see when the question ends on like Adobe. You can see like where the volume starts with Brian Kelly speaking. Les, he's interjecting,
Talking
he's all
over everybody.
Yeah, he's all over the
Hold on,
place.
hold on.
Yeah, and he's like having a conversation as the media's asking him a pointed question, and he's just like kind of talking. And I was like, this is not
Remember,
what it's supposed to look
he used to
like.
stand up there with his hand on his hip, and he would like.
He
like,
loved
lean
it.
back a little bit.
Loved it.
He loved being up there.
He loved it. He would show up in like in a blazer and a button up. Like,
This is a
he would get
post-practice
dressed up. You
story.
could tell that he had just had his hair freshly dyed.
Yeah.
Uh-huh,
Like
always.
it was always like freshly colored.
Jeez, Les.
I mean, it was freshly cut. You know, like he
Sheen.
was going to the press conference trying to go viral.
the ego on this man.
Exactly.
Like now looking
you
back
could
at it,
see the ego. Like
He
this is
loved himself.
it's Brucey's time to shine.
absolute. Like screw Saturdays.
Yeah, this
I
is
want
it.
Monday.
Yeah.
I want the press luncheon.
Oh, he's got he's got his fans around him. He's got the he's like, I want to get a couple of these recruiting girls to come walk with me
That's
to
right.
the podium.
They drove him over.
Yeah,
they were
of
down in the
course.
Escalade waiting on him.
Run red light.
Here is Kelly talking about the special teams, where they are. Obviously, this is a point of emphasis here in year 2 after the blunder and failure of Brian Polian in year 1.
Special teams, I think, is making really good progress. We saw our kicking game yesterday. I was pleased with that. Ramos and Dybert will both be active in the kicking game. Jay obviously is doing a great job with punting. And Aaron Anderson is really, I think, as comfortable of a punt returner that I have seen. We got some work to do on kickoff return in terms of where that's going to be, but he's back there too, Aaron, and we'll see where that goes. We're going to spend a little bit more time on that in the next couple of days.
Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Go Roof. Our friends over at Go Roof are online at GEAUXroof.com, and it's a beautiful roof every single time when you call 927-8300. That's a 225 area code. 927-8300 is the phone number, or you can log online to GEAUXroof.com, GEAUXroof.com, and you can request a quote there. There's a simple link there in the top right of the website. You can request a quote, and you can have Go Roof on your roof today. Remember our friends over at Go Roof, the trusted professionals over at Go Roof, 15 years of experience in roofing. They are licensed, insured, local company here, and have worked both commercial and residential jobs. They can help you at maintenance as well. Get in touch with them over at Go Roof. They've been providing roofing services, both residential and commercial, since 2005. So whether you need a new roof installed, you need a repair to the existing roof, you can rely on your locally owned and operated business in Go Roof to help you out. 225-927-8300. Free quotes, free roof inspections. They'll jump up on your roof today and tell you whether or not you need a new roof, and then they'll work with the insurance company to help you all out with it. It's Roofs Up with our friends over at Go Roof. GEAUXroof.com. GEAUXroof.com. It's a beautiful roof every single time when you deal with our friends over at Go Roof. Here is more from Brian Kelly. He was talking about the setup for the scrimmage on Saturday and special teams and what that'll look like. Here he is talking about that secondary. We opened up these bites with Kelly talking and giving the status on Denver Harris. Harris is handling some personal things and hopes to be back with this team if he can hopes to be back with the team this weekend if he can take care of those personal matters as the program is laid out for him. Here he is talking about the secondary and where they are heading into the weekend and the competition at that spot. Another one that has some names, has some guys, some unproven talent, and some inexperienced guys, or at least in the SEC. From an inexperienced standpoint. But what the competition looks like on the back end of the defense.
I think they've done well. I mean, there's still a lot of work to be done there, but you've got 3 safeties that are really solid for us, and Andre Sams has been outstanding. Greg Brooks has battled a little bit of heat illness, but he's back and competing. Major Burns out there has had a really good camp. So having 3 veteran safeties kind of helps you a lot. And then Sage Ryan's had a really nice camp. Sage playing both nickel and a little bit of corner for us. So to have 4 veteran players, in a sense, there kind of balances out maybe a little bit of the inexperience at the cornerback position for us. Chestnut's played a lot of football, so to have him there has been a nice addition because he's a calming influence out there. So when you look out there, you go, wow, there's some new names. But when you go Chestnut and Sage and Brooks and Sams or Burns, you got virtually a veteran secondary out there other than one cornerback position. So when you break it all down, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at this point.
Cornerbacks have to stay healthy. I mean, they got to stay healthy because they just don't have the numbers and the depth. And look, I'm biased, and I've been biased, but I think Denver Harris turns the corner. I think ultimately they will be able to count on him playing him at some point. It may not be the first month. It may not be the first game. It may not be within the first 3 games. I don't know. But at some point, I believe Denver Harris is going to be the primary cornerback on this team, and that will relieve a lot of the putting guys here, putting guys there, trying to find new names here. But ultimately, if he does not get it, and he's he's not able to get onto the field, I still feel okay and good about what they're taking every Saturday into competition. Look, it's not DBU. I mean, Patrick Peterson's not walking through that door. But you got guys that have experience like Zy Alexander and guys like Deuce Chestnut and even a guy like Sage Ryan, who he mentions there, that's been running and getting some reps at corner, that I believe you can compete at a high level in the SEC with. And I think, look, it goes hand in hand about what you have up front with guys like Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo, and you got Harold Perkins and Savion Jones coming off the edge. But I'm okay at cornerback after watching these guys go through it, play, get out there, go through reps. I mean, LaTerrence Welsh is somebody that we haven't talked a ton about here through the first 11, 12 days of camp, but I expect him to get his opportunity and get a chance to play. And if it looks similar to what it looked like in the spring, I mean, let's not discount who he was doing that against in the spring. He may have been doing that against the best wide receiver room in the conference. I mean, Malik Nabers is out there pushing guys to get better every single day at practice. Do we have the bite of Kelly talking about Malik and what he was doing and how he has just kind of set the standard at practice? This is something that I talked about on Monday.
Yeah, 14.
This is something that I really was – I believe I led the show with it on Monday.
Yeah, he talked about it he's talked about it multiple times because the way Malik, like I've said, the way Malik Nabers practices, I don't think there's anybody in the country practicing harder.
He practices like a pro.
Right.
I mean, he practices like a NFL. That's one thing that Jordan and I we watch Hard Knocks, and one of the things that he pointed out was the practice reps. And I've been harping on this to him for like the last couple of months of you got to get the most out of practice. You know what I mean? Like you can't let practice be a 2-hour just, hangout fest. Like you got to get out there, and when it's time to get a rep or when there's an opportunity to get a rep or when there's a chance to just get out there and compete, like take that serious. Like don't go through a rep with your chin strap unbuckled. Like step up there and get the best out of the rep. And one thing that you can tell in the NFL, because they've now limited so many reps that you can get with the agreement between the players and owners, where they've knocked off so much practice time out of what the why can't I think of the term of what I'm thinking of, the players agreement between the owners and the players of the collective bargaining agreement.
CBA, yeah.
In the new CBA, they've stripped all the, you can only stay on the practice field for a limited amount of time. So, there's a huge emphasis of when you get this rep, like, you got to get it. You got to make the most of it.
Not only that, you're seeing them trying to take the preseason a little bit more seriously because they're not getting that. They stripped away a game from the preseason as well, so you're seeing them play a little bit more, like you saw with the Chiefs in the last 2 years. You saw it with the Saints, where teams that feel like they've either made an addition or want to continue to work on something, they're going out there and playing you're seeing starters in the preseason a little bit longer. And I think an unintended consequence of the NFL doing that is it slowed down the first 4 weeks of the regular season, where the teams aren't really operating at a very efficient, like they're the best that they could look. It feels like they're still using the first couple of weeks of the real regular season to work on things. Yeah. Like they're treating them as preseason games. And if you're the Saints, that's a tough go at it, because I think you have 3 conference games of your first 4. So you don't want to fall behind the 8 ball, and I think that's why they're playing more of their starters in the preseason. I
tell you what, the Jets practiced with Carolina, and the Jets' defensive line,
oh my goodness,
abused Carolina's offensive line.
Bryce.
And look, the Jets may have the best defensive line in the league.
Yeah,
they're rookie. McDonald?
Yes.
He's
I didn't even know who that was.
Me either. I was like, who is that, Jordy? He was like, defensive end out of Iowa State. He was the 15th pick in the draft. Yeah. I'm like, this guy is an alien. And
then you look at Jermaine Johnson.
Yes.
That guy was a 5-star, went to Georgia, left Georgia, went to JUCO, went to Florida State, and still became a first-round pick.
They got dudes. And then their big dog, Quinnen Williams.
That's the engine.
He was like counting sacks. He literally had
10 sacks.
10 sacks.
Like every play he was
he wasn't exaggerating.
He was beating the double team like Glenn Dorsey at East Ascension. It was like he was toying with NFL play. And poor Bryce Young. How is he not going to get killed?
Coach,
did you see him standing next to Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers is not big.
Aaron Rodgers is what, 6'3"?
Maybe. I think he's like 6'2". He looks towering like over Bryce Young. And Bryce Young, you give him credit. He took those hits
like a man
in the preseason game. But you get to week 12. There is just like there's no Troy States on the schedule. You know what I mean? There's no directional university on the schedule.
Alabama State this year, Coach.
And you're not going to be able to reconstruct that offensive line. And I know it's not Quinnen Williams every week, but in the NFL, everybody's got one dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got one that you got to pay attention to.
And there's clips of Bryce Young, his first preseason game on his tippy toes, trying to see over the line. But he did it at Alabama, but
I know,
I don't know if it's going to work here.
This is a different animal. You get hit like that. some of those shots he was taking in a preseason
game.
They're swallowing him up. Their whole body is just like.
That's exactly what it is.
It reminded me of Tua.
Yeah.
When Tua was getting crunched last year, you were like, this does not look legal.
This isn't gonna last.
This does not look. It looks like us out. It looks almost like a jackass prank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Put pads on and see if you can take this hit.
And it's no slight against Bryce Young or Tua.
No, they're great quarterbacks.
They're just so slight of frame.
So small.
That's what I thought whenever I saw Rodgers. It wasn't so much the height thing. It was like he's so thin. And when you see him next to a defensive lineman that were coming after him in waves, it was like this, because I think Bryce Young is going to be a stud, but he's got to stay healthy. And you can see the test case with Tua last year is exactly what you're worried about that's why there was conversations why Bryce Young shouldn't go one.
Tua he's an injury away from it being over.
Oh, one more head and
it's over.
It's just too much public pressure.
Over. I heard a Miami radio station trying to well, if he gets a concussion, he's going to be out 3 months, huh? And the guy was like, dude, if he gets a concussion, he's done.
He's Billy Bob.
It's over for him. And I don't see a world where he doesn't. Like, you can take – he took, like, jiu-jitsu over the summer to, like, learn how to
how to
fall.
He bulked up a little bit too, but like, I mean, I still just.
Bruh.
And it's not, and he doesn't. It's not like he's putting himself in harm's way. This is all happening like pretty much within the pocket.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing. It's not like he's a Joe Burrow who's running or a who is it for the Bills, Allen, where he's like
Yes,
actually
absolutely.
playing reckless, you know.
Right.
But he's a huge dude, so
Yeah,
it works
I
out
mean,
for him.
He's delivering the hit.
Right. Tua is sitting in the pocket, and it's still terrifying if you're a Miami Dolphins fan, where you're watching like.
And that was the thing.
It doesn't
Like,
feel safe.
he was a sitting duck.
I was about to say, yeah, he's getting
Like, he wasn't moving. Like, he was throwing and, like, just standing.
sitting in there.
I mean, with somebody running at you full speed with the intent to hurt you. Like, that's why they're coming at you.
like the hit Bryce Young took from Jermaine Johnson. He just comes free and just like knocks him off, and he just got up.
I mean,
But you take 5-10 of those during a game, coach. You ain't just getting up after all.
then I got to do this for 18 weeks.
And with the way that McDaniels kind of caught a little heat for how they handled it last year, if there's even a sniff of that happening,
No.
it's going to be talked about so much. Where was that a concussion and he didn't come out the game? Like it's going to be such under a microscope for Tua and how the Dolphins kind of handle that situation. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be, unless the NFL steps in and kind of
they're
you can't
not.
touch him, you know.
I mean, they've tried.
Right, but
I
it's
mean,
because
I
these
mean-
are all hits that happen in the normal
he's got the
account
ball
of
in his
NFL
hand.
football.
I mean,
yeah,
you talk about the slight frame. I mean, Tua, one of his concussions last year was just him getting slung down like a rag doll.
Exactly.
Like, and
I
you
mean,
talk about his slim frame.
Well, you're
that's what
talking
it
about
is.
you're talking about a 300-pound.
monster.
Yeah, I mean, 300-pound in shape
Oh my goodness,
dude, like coming at you, taking 190 pounds, 200 pounds.
Just-
I mean, like, you know, I mean,
You're a wet towel.
pick up your kid.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you pick up a little kid, you're like, wow, this is like,
this is
hey,
fun.
throw him up in the air, like, yeah, you know,
the
like,
pool.
I mean, just like it would be like what that's like, you know, like, come here, Bryce, you
Yeah.
know, like, wee, you know, like, isn't this fun? You know, like,
It's
I
fun,
mean,
right?
like,
you saw with Jaden Daniels last year, where he just literally got picked up. And
Exactly.
it was like,
Oh,
oh
goodness.
my god.
Oh yeah, Jalen Carter.
Yeah,
took
Jalen
him
Carter.
as a trophy.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm taking you home with me and the SEC, and we're going to the tunnel. Like, he was helpless, and that's what you're seeing at the NFL version. I think Jaden has a better chance because he's put on some weight
Yes.
and he's a little bit taller.
Yes.
Frame allows
Yeah.
more.
absolutely.
But he plays a little bit more.
Yeah, I
of a
mean, that's
dangerous game
another
than
thing.
Tua.
You look at Bryce Young, and I mean, there's a ceiling.
Yeah.
There's a ceiling to him physically. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I mean, it was like back when, you know, like when all of us, like 5'9", you know, thought little, you know, 180-pound white dudes thought that we would be big. You know what I mean? The first time you realize, you're like, dude, you have a frame that
You're capped out.
You're done.
I'm never gonna grow.
You know
up.
what I mean?
No.
Right. You know what I mean? Like,
Don't
you're
tell me
like,
that.
wait,
Yeah.
what do you mean? I'm not going to be 6'3", 220? You're like, no, man.
Still
this is-
5'7".
It's never going to
Should
happen.
I
You can
start
spend every single day in this gym from 9 to 5, and at the end of it, you're going to be 5'9", 185 pounds, man.
I'm
I
gonna
mean, that's
show
just,
you.
This is it.
that's just the way it's going to be. You know what I mean? Like, Bryce Young, you can take jiu-jitsu, judo, whatever it is, learn how to fall. If you're standing in the pocket with the ball in your hand, you're still 200 pounds with a 330-pounder rushing down at you. You know what I mean? Like,
It's not gonna end well.
I mean, I know Tom Brady put a lot of emphasis on the way that he protects his body, like he crumples himself up to get real small. Like, that's like
When he
Yeah.
gets, when he
after
gets sacked.
Brady
Him
got
and
the
Eli,
knee,
both
after
did,
Brady
yeah.
took the knee injury, he rarely took a hit.
Yeah.
I know that's why they put the rule in place to protect specifically him, but he really helped the rule out he knew how to protect himself. Drew Brees went through a 7-8 year stretch where he knew how to protect himself back there. Brees was the master of getting rid of the ball. Like, he would get the ball out of his hand, and by that time the rules were put in place that if you hit the quarterback after he had delivered the ball, it was a huge penalty. Right? So, I mean, like, Brees would, you know, he'd have a lot of people barreling down on him, and he'd get rid of it, and a lot of people would just kind of, like, hold him, you know, where they wouldn't get a fine or they wouldn't get ejected from the game. But, like, in his 18th year, the year that the San Francisco guy fell on top of him and broke, like, 6 of his ribs,
Oh, that's just old man.
And the
Was
second
that-
to last
was that,
year?
like 19.
18 or 19,
Yeah.
I mean, there's just nothing you can do about that.
Yeah, and, like,
there's nothing that Drew Brees could have done to prevent that from happening. At the end of the day, he did everything right. He got rid of the ball. but a 6'6", 325-pound athlete slammed him down onto a turf with cement underneath it and snapped his ribs. 6 of them.
I mean,
like if that happens to Bryce Young, the same exact thing's going to happen to him. I mean, Brees might be bigger than Bryce Young.
and you talk about like Drew Brees getting the ball out early and defensive linemen running into him and holding him up. Like, they probably won't do that for Bryce Young. He's a rookie.
I mean, you saw what they did in the preseason.
And you saw what they did to Joe Burrow when he gets hit after the whistle, and like the ref's like, "Hey, sorry, like I can't give you that call."
Yeah.
Right?
Not yet.
Exactly. So like Bryce Young's gonna take a lot of those hits and not get a call, and that's probably gonna upset him a little bit because at Alabama,
And he's dropping back behind Vanderbilt's offensive line.
Jeez.
I mean, that's the thing.
All right. Good luck.
I mean, all right, here, this all started talking about Malik Nabers, the practice player. Here's Brian Kelly talking about Malik.
I think it's his mindset. His skill level has always been there. When I talk about his mindset, it's his ability to come out every single day and maintain his emotions and really focus on what's important, and that is being at his best during practice and not being distracted by anything. I thought at times he got distracted, quite frankly, and let things on the peripheral get in the way of how he came to practice. And he'd had some ups and downs during his practice. This year so far, very little to no distractions has put him in a position where his practicing has been very consistently at a high level. If he stays at that level and eliminates the distractions that are so easy to pop up today, he's in line to do some real special things.
High expectation for Malik Nabers over at LSU, man. He has shown up here to this training camp very motivated. He is. You can see it in every rep. I mean, he's not talking a lot. He's keeping his head down. I mean, he's on a mission right now, and I think everybody's really recognized that. And I, like his head coach, expect some really big things from Malik Nabers. All right, we'll be back here on the Jordy Culotta Show here after this quick break. Come back with us. Remember, RMB builds this every single day. You can find RMB online at rmb-builders.com, and you can also check him out on Instagram. You will not find a website or any social media for our guy, Jude Barker and Barker Brothers Plumbing. Welcome back here, Barker Brothers Plumbing, as they have been fantastic to us since the start of the show. It's good to have the boys back. And the easiest way to get in touch with Barker Brothers Plumbing is you call the CEO, you call the owner. And if you mention the show still, they'll give you a little bit of a discount. We're going to come up with a segment in the season that they will sponsor. But you can get in touch with Jude this morning by calling 225-776-2431. 225-776-2431.
We should call it Shit Happens.
Get the bumper sticker.
Love it. Love it, Stewie.
Get a segment.
Nice work, Stewie.
One you're producing. I love it.
Barker Brothers Plumbing. Mention the show. Get 15% off. We'll be right back after this. Come back with us.
Join the clan.
I love that.
What'd that BBDW stand for?
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha,
Malik Nabers,
Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot.
Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roof in.
For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
Hey, Greg, roof up?
Roof's up. Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta, as always, our show brought to you and built by RMB Builders. Remember our friends, we are moving into our studio. Looking forward to it over at Click Here Digital. Over at Click Here Digital, hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Back in 2022, they were Facebook's #1 automotive partner, just to give you an idea of what they're handling. It's right here in Baton Rouge. That's the biggest thing that it blows their mind when I tell them that Click Here Digital is located right there off of Interline, in between Drusilla and Airline, and some of the people that they work with, some of the campaigns that they are out in front of, some of the things that they are doing for companies in the automotive space, in the legal space, in construction. They can help you out in digital marketing that you need to learn about. Their analytical power and the way that they can feed you back exactly how your marketing dollar is working for you really is what sets them apart. Get in touch with Click Here Digital at clickheredigital.com, and you'll be able to see their facility, as we will be coming to you from Click Here Digital starting every day on Monday, which we're really excited about. The new studio, being able to show that off. So we were talking about early on how the communication patterns have changed here at LSU from the head coaching spot within the football program. Whether it was Les Miles, who would dig in his ear and try and talk in a maze and try and hide and be it was painful how the lengths he would go to in just trying to
verbal jujitsu.
The media, when people are just standing there looking at him like, huh? What?
I think it's working.
What are you talking about?
I know less than before you asked the question.
I feel a lot
or answered
dumber.
the question. Yes.
I feel a lot dumber after hearing
For
you
all
answer
having
that.
us been here, award you no points.
I mean, you did not answer one thing of the question that was asked. To Ed Ogeron, who wanted to be honest and transparent. That was kind of the platform that he ran on to get the job. And during that point, I mean, it was open practices. It was this guy is hurt. It was this guy is late. It was this guy is, starting. Whatever it was. I mean, it was honesty. And as the walls started to close in on and he had gotten the job, even early, before 19. I mean, if you remember, I mean, it was not pretty in 17. I mean, there were some things that, you kind of remember where you're like, whoa.
The Troy game.
The Troy game, the Mississippi State game.
State game.
The Syracuse game.
Leonard bailed him out.
It was, they lost. Oh, no, they did.
Yeah, shout out to Greedy.
Yeah, first play of the game.
Yeah.
We'll take him.
Man, that was a dark time. That was a bad time. I mean, the walls were closing early before Burrow shows up. And then, post Burrow, they just ate him up. And it turned into a, more of one man versus the world than it was of everybody, kind of pulling in the right direction. So now you've got Brian Kelly, who it just kind of feels like you're like almost kind of have to pinch yourself sometimes because of how clear and with how much clarity he speaks with. But just for a little bit of a history lesson for some of you kids who may be a little too young to remember the hat, or for you there that are old enough that can remember watching this circus
the whistle
every weekend.
It looks like he's cosplaying as a coach.
It
looks
does.
like he's dressing
up.
It's
Hollywood casting.
This is what coaches look like,
the
right?
more that you got to know Les, and at the end of it, that's really what he ultimately wanted to do more than anything. People close to him say like he found like his passion when he was trying to chase and be an actor.
Oh yes, I remember hearing those stories.
He was like showing up to acting classes like on Saturday mornings at like 9 a.m. where like college kids would be like,
"That's Les Miles."
I think that's Les Miles. Like, just like taking notes. Like,
is Les Miles in my acting class?
In this class? Like
Michael Scott doing improv classes.
I mean, like really and truly, I knew someone through an acquaintance who lived in Los Angeles, was from New Orleans, and is a speech pathologist in Hollywood and works with actors, actresses, and people on just their delivery, their pronunciation, their enunciation. How to, like simple communication tactics on working with just being in dialogue, right? Just kind of going back and forth.
When to speed up, when to slow down.
Exactly. Les Miles was blowing her up, like after they got, and not for the reasons that we're all thinking, like because he wanted to become an actor, like he wanted to really like pursue it, like he wanted to like
better.
go all in, and like he was using like the coaching tactic of let me just outwork everybody.
If I do this
You know
long
what
enough
I mean?
and hard
Like,
enough,
exactly,
I'll be good at it.
exactly. Like
20,000 hours
like
of work.
I want to go to the classes.
You know who Les Miles reminds me of? You know this, the show Barry.
Uh-huh.
The acting teacher from
Oh,
Barry.
absolutely.
Like that's exactly who Les Miles acts like. I forget his name.
Okay, so Stewie, give me a Les cut and then a BK cut.
All right, so this is Les's first cut.
Hey, we've had a very strong week of practice, great effort. We're looking forward to hosting a dynamic team, a very talented team, very well prepared, and we'll see if we can be up to the challenge. It's going to be fun. Where are you from? Are you you employed?
Oh, no. I work
This is what I thought. See, if you find you'll change your luck about that employment thing if you don't wear red all the time.
It helps. It's flat, has some navy in it.
There's the hip.
It's not solid.
It looks nice. That's all I can say. Go ahead.
That's all I can say right here. But if you hang out after, I'll give you a little special one-on-one interview and leave your number if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's go hop
got a
in the
little
Yukon.
more for you.
Like, let's just turn that into like a little flirting, like a little online dating service.
Wait, what's your name?
A one-on-one dialogue.
Are you hired? Are you employed?
You wear red all the time. I like that red on you.
All right, now BK.
All right, this is BK talking about the quarterbacks taking more ownership of the offense and making coach look good.
What a difference.
I wouldn't necessarily go with well-oiled machine. I like the way it sounds, but you know, when you have an incumbent quarterback, certainly, and you know, Daniels and Nussmeier, obviously, that they can run the offense, they can get you into and get you out of bad plays. They make the coach look really good, and that's the honest truth. When they have such a control and a command of the offense, they're in a position. This offense and its structure is set to eliminate negative plays, and they have the ability to control it. So we've given them more control.
All right, back to Les. Here's more from Leslie.
The Hatter.
The Mad Hatter. What's your name?
Did he practice this week?
He did.
He's good to go.
Good to go. I mean, he's probably,
Oh, here we go.
you know, swelling sound really looks good. Got fresh legs. Yeah, I think he's good to go.
Is he going to give like a percentage?
When you think back on the 2011 team,
Oh,
what is your
wow,
memory
yeah.
of that team? What legacy do you think that team carries? And is there any emotional, is it tough to look back?
Look at this. He's like, you prick.
What is
He
this?
wants to fight Jock.
Oh, we don't have the
I
answer.
didn't know what it began.
He wants to fight Jock. He's looking at Jock like he wants to fight
The
him.
gall of you asking me a football question.
Asking me about a team that I didn't. There isn't a player in that locker room who hasn't had a great career.
Is that this one?
No, that
I
wasn't
do
that.
remember that.
That was after the Ole Miss game.
Yeah, that was the Russell Shepard wanted to play quarterback, and oh my goodness, he was all over the place.
How freaking easy.
Oh, God.
Freaking easy it must
I was
be.
there that day.
Me too. I was in the locker room.
It was.
I was
It
like
was
a
on
high
the-
school
it was entire
sophomore.
stadium.
Yeah.
And then the kiss him on the mouth.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, if you're a girl.
Yeah,
But
that was the
these-
same day.
These were.
Yeah, it was.
Same person.
It was.
Oh God, what a wild ride!
It was. It was an incredible ride. The craziest press conference I ever went to with Les Miles was after the Tennessee game.
What a game!
2011.
The 2011 one. When no, not 2011 one. The 2010 one when he flubbed the clock.
God.
And he said the first thing he said when he gets in there, he says something and he goes, "And Sam Montgomery is hurt."
Yes.
And everybody's like,
What?
Huh?
He wasn't talking about that at all.
It was like he was explaining the scenario at the end of the game. He was like, and then we had a substitution of 3 wide receivers coming in on a goal line package, and T-Bob snapped the ball over the quarterback's head, and Justin Jefferson and Jordan Jefferson fell on the ball, and we got another chance. And Sam Montgomery is hurt. I was like,
okay.
Is he okay? Like, okay.
Huh?
Coach,
What do you-
in the corner right here. What happened on the last play?
Right. Yeah, Coach, back to the last scenario. Like, what was the thought process behind that?
Why are we sending 3 receivers in on the goal line?
Terrence Tolliver.
Me.
Terrence Tolliver's running in.
Come get in.
Everybody's looking at the sideline. The sideline's looking back at the field. Nobody's saying anything. I mean, it is like
It
is a circus. It is a fire drill.
Les is just finger in the air. Just...
Les is looking at the TV, looking at the jumbotron.
Yeah, he has no idea what's
Like,
going
he's just
on.
watching.
Where's my
Best
wife?
seat in the house. Jock has actually the Les Miles Classic on his Twitter. I mean, on YouTube, on Jock Tuesday's page. It's after the Ole Miss victory in 2012.
He starts
my
dancing.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, when he's talking about
like,
Odell. It's like when I was watching Odell. It's like a bowler at the bowling alley.
It's kind of funny,
Yeah.
you know. Like I mean, like
Well, that was the thing.
His facial expression. You're like, look at this guy.
He's just having
You're like,
fun.
look at this guy.
How freaking easy would it be?
Did he? I don't think he said freaking.
I think he said.
No,
freaking.
no, he said it.
How fucking easy.
Yeah, that's what he. That's
He's like a
I mean, like,
real-
because Bonnet was, Bonnet's like, he's a note taker in, in press conferences. He's like, he's got to go in there and kind of like transcribe everything. So he's kind of like keeps his head down as Les is introducing. He's like, how fucking, and he's like, he's like,
shit.
Oh shit!
You
Get
between-
him off!
Between that and the people conversation, Bonnet was working overtime
Oh,
under
my
the Les
goodness.
Miles
Oh, my
10. You're like,
God,
oh
man.
my god.
What is he gonna say today?
I thought I did pretty good.
yeah, right. That was great, right?
Like Bonnet's telling him before the
I mean, we
presser.
got the university in a little bit of trouble, but other than that, I mean, we should be all right.
Les is really innocent. Fucking nailed it. Crushed it.
Yeah, right.
Next.
Where are we off to now, Mikey?
Les, there's a civil case loading for us right now.
that much,
Right, I just became a key witness.
you have that much talent.
Hughes Mechanical Contractors. Remember, get in touch with Hughes right now at hughesmechanical.net. Little relief in the weather this morning. If you want to get them out there and check out the AC, 225-658-2147. Heat's not gone for good by any means here in mid-August. So if you want to get somebody out there and check out the air conditioning system, get a true trusted professional from Hughes Mechanical Contractor. They're online at hughesmechanical.net. Or you can get in touch with them by dialing 225-658-2147, 658-2147, a trusted Daikin realtor. Why do I always say that? It's not realtor. Dealer.
The Daikin dealer.
Trusted Daikin dealer that you can find over at hughesmechanical.net. From Zachary all the way to New Orleans, serving South Louisiana, everybody in between. You can find them over at Hughes Mechanical Contractor. AC, commercial and residential. Get in touch with Travis Hughes. Call this morning, 225-658-2147. 225-658-2147 is the phone number. HughesMechanical.net online is where you can find them. We'll be back and close it out here on the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by R&B Builders.
How freaking easy.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge. Is it time to wash your house or business? Call the pros at Hydro Wash today. Get them out with their low-pressure, soft-washing cleaning approach. From commercial buildings, rooftops, and residentials, Hydro Wash is ready to get your place shining. Find them on Facebook or call Curtis at 225-933-7068. Take it from me, Hydro Wash came by and made my house look like new. What was best was the professionalism. They picked up everything, made the clean, and then put everything back to where it belonged. Get in touch with Curtis today. Call him at 225-933-7068 or find Hydro Wash on Facebook.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on.
Did you do it?
Hold on. Did you do it?
Rosa. Hold on. Roof's up?
Roof's up! Roof's up! Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
You can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no-obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every single time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
A guy in that list of men who hadn't had a great career, who hadn't given tremendous effort and energy to his team, that in fact played a lot of football and made plays today and made plays right on through his career. Whether he's a scout team player or a guy that plays sparingly or a guy that was highly recruited and played his butt off and gave us leadership and is getting his degree and whose contribution was very, very significant and will be for the next 2 games. Now, I want you to know something. It would be said about my career at Michigan. It was a flop. I underplayed my own expectations. My head coach would have probably told me you overplayed your physical limitations. My point to you is there is no such thing as a flop that takes a field for our football team. Just so you know, proud of those men. How freaking easy it would have been to say it's their night. How freaking easy. Excuse my language. Spectacular group of men. You go find them, you throw your arms around them, you give them a big kiss on the mouth if you're a girl. Wow, what a game! Ah, are you kidding me? When Odell Beckham was going up, I felt like a bowler at the bowling lane. Anyways, questions.
You can't beat him.
I mean, like,
questions. Like, I don't have any questions after that, coach.
Guy made $50 million at LSU.
Fucking stealing, highway robbery.
I mean, like, that is painful, man.
Wait, we're not going to talk about the absolute 2 dual personalities that man has. How he goes from irate, he is a 12 out of 10 at how mad he is, and then it flips the switch to now he's got the whole room laughing they were on eggshells.
If I remember what he is responding to, the advocate wrote a piece on Russell Shepard being, and ultimately called him a bust.
Right. And Les took that personally because it was his fault.
Right. And that's what he is like responding to. And that's the day that Odell took the punt back against Ole Miss to beat Ole Miss. And that's what he's reacting to. Just a tornado of emotions.
Yeah, he's just, you're literally inside the brain of Les Miles, where it's just ping-ponging around of all the things that happened that day. Where, wait, I'm mad about this, but wait, did you see the game? And I love to kiss girls. So he got all of his favorite things, and he got football, he got angry, and he got a little horny.
Questions?
Questions.
Yeah, I do, Coach.
What the fuck was that?
What's going on? What are you on?
Yeah, what?
I have 3 of what he's taking.
All right.
Good
What, you on some Quaaludes, man?
Yeah. Where am I? Hold my hand.
Would you want the other one?
Epic list. Yeah. Is this the Sam Montgomery is hurt?
Thong or throng?
As we drove in, there was a big throng of people that
Peak left.
I knew some of you guys would be thinking the wrong things back there. Just what I thought. And
Gotcha.
swimwear.
You have to throw another one in there.
Swimwear.
Like,
He
okay,
treats it like it's his comedy hour.
He does.
Like he's getting a YouTube, like a Netflix
Like,
special.
oh, it just went viral.
Yeah. Oh, not me.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Oops.
Oh, less.
Like, imagine if Twitter was as big as it is now. Like, it would have. These clips would have been much more viral than they are now.
Oh my god.
Like,
if the way that
Oh, man.
the internet works now with what we're doing, essentially going back in time and being able to do it, but if it would have been, like you said, clipped on Twitter, that was the first thing I went to, was try to find if they were already been clipped up on Twitter, but it didn't exist
yeah,
yet.
it wasn't as big.
Mm-mm.
Twitter you couldn't put videos on Twitter.
He would have gotten canceled early, though.
Oh yeah, he would have been out.
I mean, there would have been people that have been like, he's super uncomfortable.
He is, yeah, he's,
I mean,
he's
like,
straddling
he's
the
staring
line.
He's staring at me.
Yeah,
He's actually straddling that girl over there.
He just did it in the presser. Like, oh, I've never seen you before. What are we doing?
So funny. All right, we appreciate you being out there. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button, as we will be back with you tomorrow morning. Shay will be here. We'll recap whatever's happening in recruiting, the latest. And then we'll talk about and give a preview of LSU's first scrimmage coming up Saturday morning inside of Tiger Stadium. We appreciate you, as always, for being here. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, and comment button. And if you are looking to get back into the game, remember our friends over at Ochsner Sports Medicine and Andrews Institute that you can find online at ochners.org /sportsmed to keep up with what they have going on over there. Whether you're a high school athlete, if you are if you're a pediatric patient, or if you're a pro, or anywhere in between, you can get over to Ochsner Sports Medicine Institute, the Andrews Sports Medicine Institute today, and visit them online at ochsner.org /sports medicine to learn what they have coming up over there. A lot of exciting stuff, including a facility down here in Baton Rouge that we're going to be looking forward to telling you all about over the next couple of months, which is going to be really cool. So check them out. Make sure and hit this like button, share button, comment button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe before we get out of here, as we'll be back with you tomorrow morning. Compliments of our friends over at RMB Builders. Have a great day, and we'll see you on Friday morning.
How freaking easy.
Pardon my language.
From 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. Yeah. Hey, Chino. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification. We about to go live. We got all your favorite guests. We got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time. It's the hottest show around. We ain't got to flex. Call up G, we get it done. We earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in. Where they going next? Throw up the L's. Now we lit. Band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live. Mic'd up for show.